But yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started. So my name's Reese Alley. I'm a partner in a company called SCA Construction. So we're a stormwater contractor, but I met you on social media, and you seem to be young. I mean, you're a few years younger than me. You're 19, yes.
Yep, yep.
So I'm 23, a few years younger, and sort of on the same path. And so at least at what it seems like.
Yep.
And so just wanted to go through how, just to get started, I guess, how did you get started? Like, where was the beginning? Where did it come through? Was it a grand idea? What was your mindset towards it?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't any plan or anything like that. Um, like I was telling you when we were on the phone the other day, kind of just started during the whole COVID shutdown type thing. Um, I think I want to say a sophomore or a freshman, I can't remember, in high school, and just stuck inside. I was super bored. There was nothing to do, so I just started going outside, playing in the stick, stuff like that. Um, And then once stuff started opening back up, I still wasn't in school. So I went over to Home Depot and I picked up a little push mower and decided that I'd start mowing lawns just to get some extra cash. I think it was a Toro self-propelled, just push mower. Still have it. I think that I bought it for like $200 at Home Depot, and then I bought the Home Depot brand weed whacker for like 25, $30. So that's kind of how I started out, and I did probably 5 lawns first couple weeks, and then as a 15-year-old, uh, the word started getting passed along that I was mowing lawns for like $10. So um, I
Free labor.
started, yeah, right. So I started doing a few more, um, and I really started to like it. So I had saved up enough cash at that point to buy a Husqvarna riding mower. It was 1600 new. I bought that right at Home Depot as well. So I was pretty much just mowing lawns, not really planning on doing anything huge with it. Um, but after thinking about it a while, I was like, well, I like being outside, and doing this type of thing. So why not get paid to just have fun outside? Um, and there's a couple other companies like me around that on my road. There's three of them, like literally within the span of a mile. And I went up to the biggest company. I knew the owner a little bit here and there, and I offered to work for him for 90 days for free in exchange for pretty much just the knowledge on how to do everything and how he runs everything. So then I ended up doing that, and that worked out good. And when I turned 17, that's kind of when I went full throttle on the entire thing, and I decided that I kind of wanted to do it for the rest of my life. Um, and I got into the bigger jobs. I was renting backhoe to kind of do small excavation stuff. And then 6 months goes by, and the name's getting out there a little bit more. And at this point, I've made more friends that are in the industry, and I would work along them to get more experience on how to like do septic tanks, leach fields, stuff like that. Um, And when I had turned 18, so about a year and a half ago, was really when stuff started taking off big time. I was just about to graduate high school, and at this point, I had gotten my own skid steer, gotten my own mini excavator, so I was able to kind of just do a lot more with it, and I had also grown a lot more experience in the masonry and hardscape field as well. So
So one thing, just to stop you there just for a second.
sure.
So one thing that was super important to me, at least in the beginning, it still is. I'm walking I've been calling this dude for 2.5 years. He owns a really big grading company in our area, and we're finally going to get to go walk some big job sites that he's doing in the morning. And for
Yep.
the exact same reasons that you had offered to work with that gentleman for 90 days for knowledge, I guess. How do you think that has sped up, or I can't imagine it slowed it down, but how do you think reaching out to those people has sped it up? And for maybe the person that's afraid to ask for advice, or is either just reading a book or just watching videos, what do you think the value was of actually physically reaching out to a real person and working alongside them in real life, in their own business?
Sure. I mean, it gives you real world experience first off versus going to a school and learning textbook. When you go up there, you start to grow a relationship with that person, and it also builds your ethic. Shows you what to work towards. It gives you an actual like a visual of what this could be in the future. Um, so I think that one of the biggest ways that works out good for you is since they're going to be a bigger company than you in the first, they'll hand you all the small jobs that they don't want to take, and those small jobs when you first get started, those are what matter, because those people are the ones they're going to write your reviews pretty much. Um, yeah, I would say to anybody who was thinking about doing it, just go up and do it. Even if they say no, ask for an hour-long conversation with them, just yeah, I don't think that there's really any way that it could not be beneficial towards you.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a crumb off a giant's plate is what I always said about that.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's like a great little, great little thing. It can
Yeah,
feed you for a while in the beginning. And it's
right.
kind of like, this dude tomorrow morning, and like I said, it's, we're going to look at a data center that he's doing the site work for. And
Yep.
it's like, for us, we've gotten into stuff that's, 100,000, couple 100,000, 500,000, like some of those jobs. And it's just insane to think, just in like a perspective wise, that, our entire company's gross revenue, I mean, the whole shebang from, January to December is smaller than some of like the deposits and the draws on some, like one of his jobs.
Yeah, right.
It's,
Yeah.
every
Oh,
time
yeah.
you think you're good at something, then, put it in perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my first $500 job, and I was psyched about it. I was like, "No
Oh,
way,
yeah.
holy shit, that's a ton of money!" And then my first $10,000 job, and then it just keeps on going up from there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's always room to make more, I guess.
I mean, I would probably say I remember the first. I guess I'm sure if yours was an even 500, but I had one that was it was a mulch job, and it was
Yep.
$736, and it was I don't know. I just remember that so specific because I remember running home and then telling my parents that I had just discovered some like massive gold mine of how to put down mulch. It
Yeah.
is so just it was just crazy money, and obviously that's very small at this point, but. But
Right.
I was more excited about that than the first time we got $100,000 project.
Oh yeah,
And so
definitely.
it means a lot more. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but interesting. And so, as far as the work that you've gotten into now, I mean, are you still doing any mowing, or are you all towards the install side of things?
So my name is Pitcher Excavation and Landscape. Originally it was just landscaping, but as I got into the excavation type of thing, I changed the name. So I've got a crew running twice a week on mowing lawns, lawn maintenance type of thing, just because I think that's a really important service to offer. And once in a while, I like to hop on the lawnmower, put in my earbuds, and just go to town on a lawn. It's pretty relaxing, but um, yeah, no, like I said, I've got 2 days a week that I have a crew running on lawn maintenance and stuff. And another one of my biggest reasons why I did that is I do a lot of commercial mowing, and in that contract for mowing, I put in I call it a first reserve type of deal, to where if they need any work done on the outside, like lawn type of thing, excavation type of thing, then I have first dibs on that. So they come to me first. I give them my price, and if I want the job, then I get the job, and if I say no, then it goes out to bid. But that's one of the biggest reasons too why I still do lawn maintenance.
That is a very interesting thing. So, and I just to talk about that, I've got a lot of friends that do lawn maintenance, and obviously there is a huge lead flow that comes in
Yeah.
from people that are at least they have an account and then they need a retaining wall or something like that, or if it's commercial, same difference. But I've never heard of anybody putting in I guess a first right of refusal clause in their
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to just add that in there. I mean, before I had it, it didn't really it didn't go up for bid most of the time. And I was always asked, but I figured just adding that in there really put my foot into another door, I guess, um, and just adds more work to your schedule.
Interesting. And so, have you ever had anybody give you flack for putting that in the contract? I guess I
No,
mean they still have to give you a shot, and then they can
right.
still bid it. So that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. No, so I've never had any issues with it. It hasn't been an issue so far.
And then, as far as I guess the next thing you're trying to accomplish, I mean, tell me, I guess if you're comfortable with it, what sales did you do last year?
I did just over 350,000.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, I
Pretty
mean, I
good.
figure it's not bad compared to the 7,000 that I made in my first year of business.
Yeah, honestly. So I guess what's the do you have an idea about how fast you want to grow?
I don't want to be a huge company just because as you get into like the huge stuff and all this huge contracts, huge equipment, and huge payments come along with that stuff.
Yes,
So
they do.
I'd rather keep it kind of small, have a group of up to probably 8 guys, and that's where I would call it good for me. And a lot of stuff that I've heard and I agree with is just keep it small and keep it profitable.
Yep. I didn't exactly follow that, but we're also, 300,000 hours in the hole right now. So,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of kind of, the saying is what the saying is for a reason. But
right. Oh, you got to pay to play.
yeah, you do. And so but I will say with 8 people, like I mean, you can do about 500,000 a year comfortably off of, one crew.
Oh yeah,
And with 8 people, as I'm sure you're finding out. And so, I mean, if you were doing about $1 million a year and netting a comfortable 20 to 30%, I mean, you're living very comfortably. I've got a
right.
handful of friends that are doing that. I mean, I've got a buddy who's now 25 ish, 26, and he's been at the $1.2 million mark in landscaping for probably 3 or 4 years, and that's exactly what he's done. And so he's pretty much debt free. I think the only debt he has is maybe his truck, his personal vehicle. But outside of that, all the trucks are paid off, the mowers, the blowers, the edgers, and the trailers and everything. And he has his own shop, his like lay down yard.
Yep.
And he's just been buying real estate, and he's been making $250,000 a year, doing great. So.
Yep.
And it doesn't take an enormous amount of time to whip that kind of business up. I mean, obviously it takes time to pay down everything, but in terms of getting to that size, I mean, it doesn't take an enormous amount of time. I
No,
mean,
not really. No. And my biggest thing too is, like you said, with the debt free thing is I'm not debt free. I've got a loan out on one truck so far, but other than that, um, I'm in the clear. And that was my biggest thing why I chose to grow a little bit slower is because I didn't want to have $10,000 a month in payments. Um, so I chose to grow a little bit slower and just save the cash.
it's a
And
very wise.
yeah, I would recommend that to everybody. Um, just because there's a lot of big companies out there, that have a ton of stuff and it looks super cool. And I wish that I had all of it, but I don't. I've never liked monthly payments personally. Some people don't give a crap about them, but me personally, I don't like them.
Yeah, I think that's very, very wise. I mean, I think we talked on the phone a while or the first time, and when I was 19, I had about $15,000 a month in payments, and
Yep.
Between a shop and multiple trucks and the machines we had and rentals at the time, and basically the only thing I owned in cash was trailers and smaller tooling like
Yeah.
chainsaw, cut off saws, and compactors and stuff like that. And dude, it was crushing. I mean, and you combine that with the fact that I didn't know what the hell I was doing either. And so, you know, outside of the fact that it was a lot of payments, I had too much staff that wasn't, very experienced. And then we were also losing money on a lot of stuff just because, we were new, we were very green. Right. And so, and it just, it eats you a new ass really quick. So,
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, I hate writing the bank a check for $1,000 each month on my truck. So I think I'm all set with getting any other payments.
Yeah. So get that one done for a reason.
Yeah.
But interesting. And so, as far as the next thing you're trying to do in your business, maybe that's paying off the truck, maybe that's something else. But I guess what do you want in 2024? I guess what's the next thing you're working on?
Next thing that I'm working on is, well, definitely I want to have a bigger machine. Um, and yeah, pay off that truck and kind of get a couple more clients, double my profits, probably the same as everybody else. Um, yeah, I just like to get my name out there pretty much.
I got you. And what kind of equipment do you have right now? Do you have a machine?
Yep, Kubota SVL 75 2 skid steer, and then a Kubota KX 40 mini excavator.
And you own those in cash?
Yep.
Damn. That's better than what I did.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
So, and that's all come from how long did it take you to save up for those? I mean, those aren't cheap machines.
No, they're not. I didn't buy them new. I did not buy them new. The Kubota, well, both of them, my skid steer is 2016 and the mini excavator is 2015, I believe. And yeah, so it took me year and a half, 2 years maybe to save up all that. But I've always been a saver since I was little. My family grew up super poor. Um, so I set a goal for my life that I was not going to raise a family that way. So I'm known to not really go out and have any fun or buy myself nice things.
Man, well, that's a heck of a lot. Well, I mean, they still dig. It doesn't matter if they're 2016s or 15s or 90s or
Right.
80s.
Oh yeah.
If it's things, you can still charge the customer the same for it. So
Yeah. 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 It's actually, both machines are actually machines that I used to rent from a guy. He's like 15 miles away, but I used to rent off of him. I would do weekly rentals, and I like the machines. I was running them already, so I asked him how much he would sell them for, and he gave me a price, and I had a price to work towards. And then when that was feasible, it happened. So
very cool.
yeah,
Very cool.
one of my goals, I guess I would say, is I really want to get a new Harley rake for the skid steer.
That'd be great. We used to do a ton
Yeah,
of sod, and I always wanted one. I used to rent them all the time.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
great.
I still rent it, but that's probably my favorite attachment ever.
They're like 14 grand new ish.
Oh yeah, yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. Yeah, I mean the stuff we have like that. We have brush cutters and like and brush hogs and I guess like the big just metal triangle looking thing. I'm butchering my own piece of equipment right now, but that's been really good. That was like 15 grand, but all those kinds of things are all around that range. But man, they make such a difference.
Oh yeah, I would love to get a forestry mulcher too. But
Yeah, it's more
that
than 14.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That stuff's not super popular around here, but I just kind of want one just to play around with it.
Oh God, yeah, I'm sure. You can't rent those either. I don't think they're just
I
too risky to get damaged. At least you
I've
can't here.
seen I've seen like one within a 1,000 mile radius for rent, but
Uh,
other than that, I cannot find them.
it's one Sunbelt with a set of balls.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Very good.
The landscape here is super rocky too, so it's not super good. You definitely need carbides, and yeah, yeah, not super popular type of thing here.
Yeah. So as far as bidding goes, this is a topic that I really like talking about. So
Go.
as far as sales go, that is something to where I think if you have someone go out and do a grading job, with a skid steer or an excavator or whatever it is, they can all charge the guy can always typically get it done. And so if you ask somebody to go dig a hole or a trench, obviously there's different skill sets, but they're generally going to get it done in the same manner or the same way. But bidding and estimating is something that is just all over the spectrum as far as
Yes.
how people do it. From writing it on the back of their hand and showing them at the end of the day to actually putting together something really professional and taking their time with it, getting it back in 30 minutes or getting it back in 2 weeks. I guess, what does your bidding process look like that you've been successful with?
Yeah. So what I like to do is I have a 3-day process. So from the time that we meet, I'll get all my numbers together and everything, find out what it's going to cost me, what I need to make on it, and what the timeline is. And then typically within 3 to 4 days of meeting, I'll have an estimate out to them. So with estimates, what I like to do too is I like to have three separate ones. So I like to have three options for the customer, and I think that's something that sets me apart from somebody else. Because this other guy down the road, he might give you one estimate. This is the price. This is what gets it done. But I like to give three. One is the most expensive. We're using top-notch material. We're using decorative rock, everything. Two is more of a mid-grade one, and then the first one's one that's going to get us by. It's going to do the job. It's just probably not going to look super beautiful. Um, and I found that really gives a good range um, to find new clients as well, because then they talk about to their friend that you offered three different options for them, and we were able to do the one that was affordable to them.
And I mean, that's definitely going the extra mile. I guess as far as descriptions and pictures and stuff like that, is it like a Word document you're sending? Do you have a software that you use? What does
Yeah,
that look like?
I use QuickBooks, so I put it all into there and then email it to them.
Okay. Oh, well, that's
So
very
it's like
yeah.
$30 a month, and it works out good. So
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, we use QuickBooks as for our accounting, but we use
yep,
Google Drive for everything else.
yep, yep.
Interesting. Very cool. And as far as your closing rate goes, you might have not done the calculations for percentage wise, but do you know what your closing rate is on different kinds of work, or I guess generally what it is?
No, I guess not. Not off the top of my head, no.
Always like to ask. There's some people. There's a guy I met that's in the pond business, and his closing rate was 70 or 80% is what he told me, and it's like, good God, you need to raise your prices.
Wow. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I understand wanting to save gas on only going to a few bids, but geez, man.
Yeah,
But we hover around, I'd say, 35 to 40%
yeah,
on stuff that's under 100,000, and then over 100,000, it's typically like 10 to 15%
yeah,
is what we're
yeah.
doing. So, but just a little bit different at bigger sizes.
Yeah, about 20 or 25 to 30% sounds about right for what I'm doing too.
Yeah, it's about
Right
industry
around that
standard.
range. What was
Yeah,
that?
I'd said it's about industry standard. I'd say is 25,
Yeah,
30%.
yeah, yeah. Unless I give my price to the customer and then they go have somebody else do the work, and then I get a call a month later to come fix their work, then I'm pretty good on the profits because my price just went up.
Yeah, it does. Well, do you have any questions for me? I don't have any more for you, but I got one thing to close, but that's about it.
Yeah. You guys are out of Georgia, right?
We are in
Yep.
North Georgia.
So I've been thinking about going more down south with this, and kind of leaving this one up to my brother to do because he's been working with me, and he pretty much knows what to do now. But I've always hated it up north. I hate Maine absolutely. So I've always wanted to go down south. Um, how do you notice that the market is down there? Is there a lot of competition? Is it hard to get your feet out there, or
I think there's tons of competition, but I think there's tons of competition everywhere.
right?
And so there's not going to be one area. I think of, obviously I have just done business in Georgia, but speaking with people that are all over the place, I mean, there's not really a place that doesn't have any competition, but I think it's just what you choose to do down here is what is going to be the case. So, I mean, there's 100 landscapers on every block, but there's maybe 5 of them that are willing to write up 3 bids on every bid, or 3 prices and stuff like that. And so there are very few people that are willing to keep their debt ratio extremely low so they can have fair prices and still make money.
Yeah,
And so if you're the same quality person and you move to another place, I think generally it's going to be the same thing. But as well, like everywhere, I think niching down is important. I mean, there was a conversation I had about that the other day with a buddy where he's trying to be the specialized person in every single thing you can do with a shovel,
yeah,
and it's just like that doesn't work. And so he's trying to do I'm not sure if you do advertising, but he's doing advertising, and you can't advertise for everything at the same time.
yeah,
It's not how it works. And so if you do have landing pages at least, but I mean, if you're going to come down here and do something, be the driveway guy, or be the retaining wall guy, or the grading guy, or the drainage guy, or whatever. Like, we're the drainage guys. And I can't tell you how many people I'm saved in their phone as far as contractors and GCs and other homeowners and stuff like that, where my name is Reese Drainage Guy.
Yeah.
And so it's like they're not going to put Reese Jack of all trades guy and then send that to somebody. And it's just giving yourself an identity, I think. But it's nice to work 12 months out of the year. That is a plus.
Oh, tell me about it. With this winter, we've had a pretty slow winter with storm wise, but it's been enough to where there was a couple feet of snow on the ground, so I couldn't dig. But we didn't get a lot of snow for a period of time, so I wasn't plowing. So I was just doing absolutely nothing, fixing equipment and washing trucks every day. And it's been super boring.
Yeah. How often would you say like big companies up there work? I guess, do they keep going through it?
Through the winter, no. It's really everybody's downtime.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's another big thing that I would say. If you're up north, at least, all of your plowing contracts, I would not bid those per storm. I would bid that annually, because if I didn't, then I would obviously be making no money. But the way that I have it set up with bidding annually, they send me one payment each month. It's the same amount from November until April. So it allows you to keep on having some sort of income come in, whether it snows or not.
That's very good. So you just bid it to where if you had to work every day, you're making money?
Yep, I bid it to where if I have to plow every single day, I'm still going to make a little bit of money. Or if I don't have to plow at all, then I'm making a ton of money.
I bet that's nice. That's probably been a good winter for you.
Yeah, money-wise it has, but boredom-wise,
Yeah. Probably won some snow to plow.
Yeah. I think that we're supposed to be getting some this weekend, just a couple inches, but enough to plow.
Cool deal, man. Well, I guess a final closing thought for the people that are trying to get out there, and maybe they're going to college, they hate it, nothing wrong with it, but sometimes not for everybody, or they're at a job, they're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 with a dream. You never know. I don't know. But they're wondering how long it takes to leave their job. And that is a question that I've been asked a ton of times. And frankly, I don't know the exact answer to, but I guess when you replace your income, but when is it stable? When is it guaranteed? When is it all this? So I guess if somebody who's trying to leave their job, most people aren't doing it right out of high school, but if they're trying to leave their job, when would you say is the right time to do it? And how would they go about it?
I think that a couple factors come into play. Where are you? Are you married? Are you not? Do you have a spouse that can make up for that lost income? In a turnaround type of deal. I mean, it could be a week and then you're booming and you're making all kinds of money, or it could be a year and you haven't landed any jobs. So yeah, I guess I'd be like you. I don't really know if I have an exact answer. Well, my answer would be, I guess, if you want to do it, then just do it. Because my biggest thing that I've realized is when I just talk about doing it and then I don't do anything to get to that point, then I just don't do it. So stop talking yourself out of it, pretty much, and just go for it.
Let's go ahead and jump off the bridge.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Hopefully it's a soft landing. So
I was gonna say a big thing that I noticed to getting work when I started out is getting involved with banks and schools, because once you get your foot in with a school district, at least around here, there's 7 or 8 schools in this single district. I did work at one school, and then 2 months later, I was doing work at every single one of them, and same thing with bank districts. So I think that those could be 2 super valuable contracts, no matter where you are.
100%. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a story. I think the people that are slow and steady and started a long time ago are the ones that end up being the big guys that you're just unexplainably wealthy at some point in your life.
Right.
And so,
yeah,
I can't. You stare at somebody, and I would like to say that I could beat an Olympic runner. I could beat Usain Bolt actually in a sprinting competition in a 100-yard race if I have a 90% head start.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. I heard that from John Maxwell, but it's true though. I mean, if
Yeah.
you just get started soon, I mean, you might be going slow as molasses, but it doesn't matter if you're doing it 20 years before everybody. And so
Right.
I think, later down the road, it is, when it doesn't make sense how you're, 30 years old, debt free with, a couple $1 million business, and
Yeah.
you're making great money, great life, stress free. I mean, it's, but you're a decade into it, over a decade into it. And so at that point,
Especially in this industry too, I think that it's a super safe industry to get into because there's never not going to be a need for dirt work in the future. We're
yeah,
always going to have rain and there's always going to be flooding, so you're always going to need some sort of drainage system. So yeah, I think that this industry anybody could really get into and succeed tenfold.
yep. And it's not like there's a whole flood of people going to it either. So
No, especially as the years grow and people become more lazy.
yes, they have. So, all right, man, it was a pleasure. If you need anything, definitely give me a call. I'll do the same. But I will talk to you after a while.